This is Baltimore, 1990, number 3. Basically, I spent about 15 years on the East Coast. Had a blast. What a great part of the country. So much culture, so much history, some fantastic cities. Really a very dynamic place to be. I started out in D.C., in Arlington, and spent 4 seasons there, and then I moved up to New York City. When I was in Arlington, I was in the mid-Atlantic, and I painted Washington, D.C. I did Baltimore, a nearby city. I covered most of the areas around Virginia, and really kind of made it the basis of my work. This just happens to be a good example of kind of the early 90s. I've been rolling for about 5 years. The oil paint is, very loosely painted. In effect, I combine some unusual influences in my art. Things that you wouldn't necessarily think might go together. This is kind of why I want to do this. I can really tell people, what's in my head and how I came up with some of these approaches. This is a combination of photorealism and abstract expressionism. If you talk to any art historian, they'd probably think you're mad. Those are 2 completely different movements, often, really considered antithetical. But I've managed to combine them. After college, I was at Stanford for 4 years. I got a degree in environmental design. That's kind of where I picked up the notion of looking at the Earth by satellite, analyzing land use, looking at geography, geology, looking at place and studying that. I found I really fell in love with the subject matter. So I decided I was going to be an artist instead of an environmental engineer. That meant I should go to grad school. So I went to San Francisco State, and at that point, I figured out the best school for me was somewhere where the instructors were knowledgeable about photorealism. I had studied photography for 4 years at Stanford. Leo Holla was my instructor. What a great guy. He just totally got me dialed into reciprocity and how you manage a camera, and I was well on my way to really understanding camera works. But since I wanted to do painting as well, it made sense to me to combine photography and painting. They're not as different as you might think. So I wanted to study photorealism. Well, jump to, we're at basically 79 at this point, and I enrolled at San Francisco State University so I could study with Robert Bechtel and Richard McLean, 2 of the first generation photorealists. And I got some direct tips from them on how do you use photography to make a painting. Well, I found out the way they use photography to make a painting is to spend a year, literally a year, making a large work. Not only did they project it, something that I've picked up and you're going to see in this work, but they just completely finessed every detail to look very similar to a photograph. They actually enhanced the photography. That's the trick to photorealism. They put back the stuff that the photograph didn't have. It lost nuance, it lost detail, it lost color in the shadows. They had learned from observation. That's what photographs were missing. That's the trick to photorealism. Put that back in, and you have a super realistic image. What I got out of it was using the photograph to get the design and to get it quickly and accurately onto a canvas or onto a panel. And then I realized I'm more interested in movement, flex, things that change, and I embraced an expressionistic painting style. So you get up close, it's abstract, it's expressionistic, and yet if you pull back, it does look photorealistic. So it has a really nice combination.